Coming up on a special one-hour edition of the Stifel Snow Show, we're bringing you some of the biggest stars and stories in snow sports. We'll get a behind-the-scenes look at a day in the life of Mikaela Shiffrin, who continues to add to her historic haul. And catch up with the cross-country team as they trek across Europe in the Tour de Ski. We've got a stacked program of guests in store for you today, including skier Nick Goepper, who will join us right here in studio. Hello and welcome back to the Stifel Snow Show. I am Ahmed Fareed, glad to be here with you, keeping you updated on the latest in skiing and snowboarding from around the globe. It has been 2 weeks since our last episode, and we got a lot to catch up on as we welcome in the new year. Take a quick look now at where members of the U.S. ski and snowboard team were competing recently. The moguls team continued their impressive run in Bakuriani, Georgia. Meanwhile, the para-alpine team was in Austria at Steinach am Brenner. The Tour de Ski, one of the most anticipated events on the cross-country skiing calendar, kicked off in Switzerland and Italy. And elsewhere in Italy and Austria, the men's and women's alpine teams took to the slopes. Now, after kicking off her season with a handful of downhill and Super G events, Mikaela Shiffrin looked to close out the calendar year in dominant fashion by returning to her strongest events. Shiffrin finished second in Courchevel and slalom before shifting her focus to Lienz, Austria. Now, this was her first time competing on this course since 2019, when she picked up a pair of World Cup wins in slalom and giant slalom. And ahead of last week's race, Shiffrin gave us a behind-the-scenes look into her preparation.
Good morning. Mikaela Shiffrin here. Just having a little bit of breakfast. It's 7:15, so it's very reasonable, but I still look very sleepy, so ignore that. Yeah, did a little bit of a morning warm-up and gonna go out for some training soon. We are doing a light session this morning because I skied the last 3 days. I did some double sessions, so I'm fairly, a little bit tired. I'm gonna do just a couple runs of slalom today and then head over to Lienz and just get ready for the race tomorrow. I need to brush my teeth. Surprise, surprise, we're heading out for training, supposed to be in 15 minutes, but I just got a phone call that doping control is doing a random test. So they're coming up and I'm going to do a drug test and we will be late for training. And yeah, looks like it's going to be kind of nice-ish weather. Hopefully it froze last night and get a couple runs in. Yeah, we might need to do some rearranging. Things you don't really think about in a very fast-paced environment is trying to get out of European parking garages in a van that is about 80,000 feet long. It requires many, many multi-point turns.
How's the GS?
Fast.
Serious. Faster than yesterday, huh?
Way faster. Yeah.
Clear for Mikaela.
Clear. Mikaela on.
It's the little things in life that make the biggest difference, which is that mushroom and cheese omelet. Omelet time! Okay, here we are. We made it to breakfast. Second breakfast. It's a thing. Got the omelet. Feeling very good about all of it. I also got a donut. Just in case people were like, wow, you just ski 2 runs and then you go for second breakfast, and do you ever ski? Yes, I do. But this is the day before the race. It's a very different kind of training. And now I need to pack up all the things. All right, here we go. Off to Lienz. Very exciting. We really love coming to any place that has a pool because it's really good recovery. the hydrostatic pressure, something like that. Really good for the muscles, and it also feels amazing on my back to be able to unload it.
Any nerves for tomorrow?
Like when I get nervous, it sort of makes me have to go to the bathroom. So I'll just get this random moment where I'm like, oh, I'm nervous. With slalom, I have such a clear feeling, like how I want my turns to feel, and just the feeling under my feet with my skis. And in GS, the last few days of training were really helpful. I'm getting that feeling back. It's exciting. Mm-hmm. It's anticipation. I'm not too scared of being nervous anymore, I guess. We're like gliding through the season. We're swimming.
We're swimming.
We're swimming. My mom just arrived back in Europe after being home for 2 weeks for Christmas. So I'm gonna go say hi. I'm so excited. Hi.
Hello. We're so excited to see you. We're doing a rotational mope. We're trying to get thoracic spine, lumbar spine, as well as a stretch through lower lumbar musculature. Get ready for skiing tomorrow.
That's what we're doing. Well, it's very, very nice. Just got changed and dressed for dinner and team meeting. We'll discuss the plan for tomorrow's race, and then we'll have dinner, and then basically I'm gonna go to bed because tomorrow's gonna be hopefully a good day, but definitely a long day. That's everything.
I'm exhausted just watching that. Wasn't even a competition day. Now, Shiffrin began her week with what she termed a near flawless opening run in giant slalom, placing her in peak position heading into the second run of the day. Here is Steve Schlanger and Peekaboo Street on the call.
Steady and stable should do it for Shiffrin. Mikaela Shiffrin last year won 7 of the 10 giant slalom races on the World Cup, and she led after the first run in all but one of those. She is a very good front runner. When she has the lead after the opening run, she's very solid at closing the deal.
She absolutely loves racing with the bullseye on her back and being the one to beat. It's her favorite position to be in. It allows her to just mentally settle down and just approach her day and her race the way she wants to. Skiing the terrain beautifully, long, strong arcs on her skis, not rushing anything, adjusting to the rhythm changes. Now she'll start to pop.
She has lost some of the advantage, but still a big lead. Mikaela Shiffrin delivers a holiday classic for World Cup win number 92.
Of course she did, right? And then in a case of deja vu, Shiffrin found herself in a similar situation the next day, leading the slalom event at the midway point. And here's how that went down.
She won the first race of 2023 back in January, trying to bookend the year by winning the last. And this is the largest lead she has had after the first run of a slalom in almost 5 years. It's the largest lead anyone has had after the first run of a slalom in almost 4 years.
She's building on her lead already. She's popping out of her turns, upper body stable, shoulders staying countered, putting on another masterclass right now, Steve.
It was a comprehensive, convincing win yesterday in the giant slalom, trying to sweep the Lienz races for the second time in her career. The final burst to the line, and another astounding display. 2 wins in 2 days, 93 and counting for the magnificent Mikaela Shiffrin.
You heard it. With that win, she now has 93 career World Cup victories, one step closer to becoming the first alpine skier to cross the 100-win threshold. Here's what she had to say about that milestone after her race in Lienz.
I just felt really good skiing today. Like, I was a little bit tired when I woke up, a little bit, maybe a little bit nervous too, but then when I actually made turns on my skis, it felt it just felt wonderful. So it was like I could be really simple, just feel my turns basically. And then I don't have races like that every single time, but both runs it was just like I don't even have any question in my mind about making it or having problems. It's just like it just keeps going. The flow is there, and it feels really nice.
93 World Cup victories now. 100 this season seems realistic. You may not be thinking about it, but everyone wants to know, is it doable?
I mean, I didn't really think 86 was doable or 87 was doable last season, but I mean, I guess on paper it's possible. I don't believe it will happen this season. I always say that, but there's a lot of reasons why in my mind it won't happen, I guess. So I try to stay realistic.
I am one person who is not betting against her. She turns 29 in March and is showing no signs of slowing down. So keep your eye on that magic number, 100. All right, up next, we've got 2018 Olympic gold medalist Kikkan Randall joining us to talk all things cross-country skiing, including Jessie Diggins and the Tour de Ski. Stay with us on the Stifel Snow Show. Yeah, how about that? I can. That is three-time Olympic medalist Jessie Diggins, looking like she's well on her way to the pain cave. Maybe a little hardware as well in this year's Tour de Ski. Now, with no Olympics or World Championships on the calendar this year, the Tour de Ski is the premier cross-country skiing event spanning 9 days in 3 cities. Let's take a look at it. The competition kicked off with a 3-day stretch in Toblach, Italy, less than 15 miles from where some of the Olympic events will take place at the 2026 Winter Games. Next, they traveled west across country lines to Davos in the Swiss Alps. And the tour concludes back in Italy on Sunday with a 10-kilometer race at Val di Fiemme. Let's take a closer look at the numbers now. Athletes who make it to the final on Sunday are racing 59 total miles, not accounting for the extra training of 15 to 20 miles or so. Meanwhile, it's at least a 4-hour drive between each stop, meaning that athletes travel more than 300 miles in total. And it finishes with a final climb in Val di Fiemme with a grueling incline of over 2 miles. The third stage of the women's Tour de Ski was the 20-kilometer pursuit featuring Jessie Diggins in a yellow bib. Here's Kikkan Randall and Chad Salmela on the call.
I think Jessie is securely in the driver's seat here because she has proven herself to be far and above in the skate technique for distance this season.
And Jessie Diggins has just been undeniably the best skier on the day. Jessie Diggins, your winner today in Toblach, and she grabs a hold of the lead of the Tour de Ski. Diggins leaving it all out there.
Yeah, we see it every time, right? Her signature grit, closing speed that captured audiences back in 2018 when she anchored the U.S. to its first ever Olympic gold in cross-country skiing. On the men's side, Vermont's Ben Ogden recorded his first ever World Cup podium finish, taking third in the sprint final. And joining us now to talk about the tour is the other half of that historic 2018 Olympic gold medal, Kikkan Randall. Kikkan, so great to have you with us here today.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
All right, so first of all, let's talk about the Tour de Ski. What makes this so unique?
Well, most World Cup weekends start with 2 races, maybe 3 in a weekend. But when you start putting those races back to back to back, it really tests the athletes. It also combines the sprint and distance events. So it really, whoever makes it to the top of the climb on Sunday will be the overall champion.
So we've mentioned it already. You raced with and against Jessie over the years. How has her mentality, her race strategy changed with her experience, do you think?
Well, Jessie has always been a real raw racer. She's raced with a lot of guts, a lot of tenacity. And early in her career, that meant that she might have gone out hard, but then not been able to maintain the race. And then as she moved into her career, she had to get a little bit more tactical, learn how to mix in the group. But as her confidence has grown in her fitness now, she can show up every single day in the hunt for the podium, if not the win. And that's the way she's racing. She's racing with that confidence. What's also been a noticeable change for Jessie this season is how poised she is. She mentioned some struggles. I think she's had a lot of weight on her shoulders being the star of the U.S. team, but she's been able to reconnect with that joy of why she got into it in the first place, and she's racing happy, and happiness is fast.
Now, I'm going to mention again, I'm sure you don't get tired of hearing about this. You and Jessie, yes, made history in 2018 as the first Americans to win Olympic gold in cross-country skiing. Now, 6 years later, the U.S. has since added 2 more Olympic medals to its collection, both on the women's side. They boast 2 of the top female cross-country skiers in Diggins and Rosie Brennan. So how has the team continued to build off of your success?
Well, I think what was so crucial for us early is getting that foot in the door, getting that first World Cup podium, getting a World Cup win, and then more and more skiers starting to develop. And once that power of belief really kicked in, what the U.S. team has been able to do is really play on the camaraderie of living together as a family on the road for months at a time, not having a single leader of the team, but encouraging everyone on the team to contribute as a leader, and then building the resources behind the team at the same time. I mean, the U.S. has definitely been the underdog, but as the results have climbed, the demand has been increasing, and so the U.S. ski team, a lot of donors in the U.S. have stepped up to make sure that our team is resourced, and I think that's what we're seeing, not only the top 2 women in the world leading the overall World Cup standings right now, but also the strength of the men's team.
I love that. Strength in numbers, a team feeling even in a sport that can be individual at times. Let's go over to the men's side of it now, and they've got a crop of young talent making waves on the World Cup circuit as well. What's the key for this promising group going forward?
Well, these men are all in their early 20s. They had success at the junior world level, being the first Americans to ever win the relay and individual events there. But then, of course, jumping into the senior ranks is a whole new depth of field. But what these guys have done is, again, they've banded together. I think they saw what the U.S. women's team started doing about 10 years ago and how successful that was. So they've put the egos aside and they really push each other. And it seems like a new American is leading the charge every single day.
All right, I've mentioned it already on this show. We always hear about the pain cave. Remind us, for those of us out here who maybe have never been to the pain cave, what is it and how do you get there and why do you even want to get there?
It can be a hard thing to articulate of why on earth would you push yourself into this zone where your body is at its physical limit. You're managing lactic acid, which means your muscles are burning. Your lungs are trying to get as much oxygen to those muscles as they can, which means they're at their limit. And you're really convincing yourself that you can literally go 5 more seconds, 10 more seconds. But what's really special about that zone is that's the limit of human potential. And there's something about challenging our limits that I think makes you feel truly alive. And so as cross-country skiers, the reason why the athletes train so much in order to build up for the race season is because every time you go out there and push yourself in training, it's like putting a deposit in the bank. And that way, when you do get to that situation in a race where you are at your limit, you can just hone in on the zone. You've been there before. You're somehow comfortable with the discomfort. And I think that's where life's best moments are truly lived.
Oh, man, that's a great articulation of it. I can imagine there's no better feeling than exiting the pain cave and having survived it. How do you think that the perception of the U.S. on the World Cup stage now has changed since you were competing?
Well, when I first started, we were a sideshow, I mean, the focus was really on the big nations like Norway, Sweden. But as the U.S. has gained traction and results, I think also gained a lot of notoriety for how much fun the U.S. team has and the team spirit that they've brought to the World Cup. So now it's not only a team to be noticed for creating news, creating excitement, but the results are really being backed up there as well. And a lot of teams have really come to respect the U.S.
All right, I can't let you go before I ask you about this. One of the unique parts of your experience as a skier was being on the world tour as a mom. How did that enhance your experience as an athlete?
Well, when you are so focused on being the top athlete in the world, it can be really easy to live or die between a good training session or a race result. And when my son came along and we brought him onto the World Cup with me, it broadened my perspective. I mean, first off, you know, now I got to be a ski racer. It wasn't something I had to do. It was really a gift to be able to do it. So that inspired me to go out and make the most of every moment of training, really soak in the experience with my teammates. But also, as long as I laid out my best effort, then no matter what, I was coming home to a smiling baby boy. And that, I think, in a way, freed up a new level of performance for me. And I think was also an added element to the team of just keeping life in perspective along with the pursuit of those gold medals.
How bad can things be when you're looking at that smile, for sure. Thanks for joining us, Kikkan. Always a pleasure, and we look forward to catching up with you in February after the World Cup in Minnesota.
All right. Keep enjoying the action. Go Team USA.
Up next, we have a fun guest in studio joining us. You do not want to miss it.
My name is Nick, and sliding down snow is slick. Slopestyle was the ultimate test, but in the Olympics, I was second best. Now, halfpipe is my game, and I'm getting old, but I'm still going for the gold.
Goepper absolutely laid this down. Incredible grace and control. 1, 2, 3. Wow! Nick Goepper throws it down.
Into silver medal position. Why not unretire and have a crack at the halfpipe?
We will talk to Nick in just a moment, but first, we've got a story of one of the busiest people on the snow sports circuit. Amy Masuga, the Park City mom, completed a whirlwind tour last month, spending 15 days in 5 cities, spanning 2 continents to visit 4 kids competing in 3 different disciplines. Let's break this all down. Amy started at Copper Mountain to watch her 18-year-old son Daniel compete in his first NORAM speed event. And then it was time to pack up her bags and head to the airport to catch a flight to Switzerland, where she met up with her daughter Lauren, there in the bucket hat, who competed in Super G at the European Cup at San Moritz. Now, Amy stayed in Switzerland, heading west to Engelberg to meet her eldest daughter, Sam, a ski jumper. And what do you do when you're in Engelberg? Of course, you've got to do some fondue while you're there. Can't leave before you do that. Then she made it to Alpe d'Huez, France, by Thursday in time to catch daughter Allie, who finished 12th in moguls despite having fractured her hand several weeks earlier. And if that wasn't enough, Amy made one final stop at Val d'Isère to catch Lauren in the Downhill World Cup. It was there that she got a call that daughter Allie had placed 3rd in dual moguls in Alpe d'Huez, her first career World Cup medal. So where was Dad? Don't worry, he was holding things down at home in Utah, appreciating all the late-night texts and updates from Amy and family all along the way. Super mom, that is an understatement. Now, after winning her first World Cup medal at Alpe d'Huez, Ali Masuga and the women's moguls team moved to Bakuriani, Georgia, where they once again made a splash on the podium. This time, it was Hannah Sohr picking up her first World Cup medal of the season in women's moguls. Sohr was the top finisher for the U.S. in 3rd, followed closely behind by Masuga in 4th. Now, Masuga also just missed out on a medal in dual moguls, losing the small final to teammate Jalen Koff, the Beijing silver medalist in moguls. So no medals for Ali Masuga in Georgia, but 2 very, very impressive showings for the 20-year-old, adding to the depth of this stacked U.S. women's roster. Over on the men's side, Nick Page, another Park City native, picked up his 2nd World Cup medal of the season, claiming the 3rd and final spot on the podium in dual moguls. Joining us today, a true Renaissance man, knows a thing or two about different disciplines, Nick Goepper. Welcome in studio, Nick.
Thank you, Ahmed. I can't tell you how happy I am to be here and have this conversation.
Well, we got to start with the obvious. What's going on here? What's happening with this attire? It looks awesome, by the way, but we've never seen it before.
Thank you, thank you. I thought I'd mix it up a little bit and pay homage to some of the true sports heroes of our past. Evel Knievel, Travis Pastrana, some of my biggest inspirations growing up. This is a total tribute. So
they have no fear. They have no, which is what you need in this sport, depending on what discipline and the exact event that you do. And that is the second obvious question here. You switch from slopestyle to now halfpipe. Take me into that decision for you.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy switch because I've done slopestyle my entire life. I love the jumps, I love the rails, I love the terrain park, and I retired about a year ago. It was totally authentic. I was burnt out, and I didn't want to do it anymore. It wasn't fulfilling me. And then after a year of kind of soul-searching and working on some other things and kind of exploring, you know, the possibilities, and also getting a little bit bored because, man, I love being an athlete. It's the best job in the world. And so I always thought halfpipe would be fun, and I just never had the time to fully pursue it. And now I'm like, I'm loving it. I'm full board. So
the luxury of just getting bored with maybe too much success or something like that. That's pretty nice. So last month, Copper Mountain marked your halfpipe debut. The World Cup stage pulled out a 4th-place finish en route to a top 5 American sweep. So talk us through your second run of the day that earned a 90.75.
Yeah, so Copper is an amazing place to ski halfpipe. The village is right there. The fans come out. It's a great environment. The halfpipe is a little bit less steep than the other ones, so maintaining your speed can be difficult. But I did a run that I've been practicing for a few months now, and, you know, it's just the start. It's the start of, you know, a better run to come. I've got the bigger tricks, and they translate from slopestyle over to halfpipe, and I'm excited to explore, you know, bigger, better runs. But Copper was such a fun debut. It meant so much to me because, like, my family was there, my friends were there. It was just, like, bringing it all full circle once again. So
did it almost feel like a new beginning for you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm going to turn 30 in March, and, you know, I've been telling people that I feel like right now I'm living on bonus time, because in skiing, I've basically accomplished everything that I've wanted to accomplish. I mean, I've won most of the competitions. I've traveled the world. Like, I've lived my dream for the last 10 years, and then I got, you know, burnt out, and I'm just doing this whole switch up and starting anew, just like you said. And it's the most fun time of my entire life, and I'm so much more relaxed and having so much more fun. I have the luxury of experience, and it's amazing.
Well, you strike me as the kind of guy that is usually relaxed and usually up for a good time, and this comes as a shock to nobody out there, but you are an entertainer both during your events, on the slopes, and on social media as well. Does that make you the athlete that you are, the person that we see off the slopes, on social media? Does that help you in your craft every day?
You know, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I've kind of been undergoing this whole personal rebrand, at least of my social media, of my public persona. The last 10 years, I've been kind of boring. I'm not going to lie. People haven't really known who I am. And it's not that I'm not fun. I just maybe didn't have the courage to fully express myself or understand my platform, if you will. So, I mean, when I was growing up, my biggest heroes were my sports stars. Glenn Plake inspired my hairdo today. Like you said, Evel Knievel, Tom Wallish, some of these guys that were so good at what they did, but they also seemed larger than life. And that's because of their personalities. It's because of their style. It's because of what they talked about and what they represent. And that is now who I am and who I strive to be, is that next 14-year-old kid's American sports hero. That's what I want to do, and I'm having a blast doing it. So
mission accomplished so far, if today is any indication. So let's look into the future a little bit here, because you've made this switch from slopestyle to halfpipe. Olympics, 2 years away, 2026, Italy. Will we see you there?
You'll see me there. Ahmed will be doing another one of these in 2 years. I guarantee it.
So take me through your thought process on that. Obviously, to be the best of the best of the best, you have people who've been training forever in one specific discipline or event. This is going to be a switch for you. How difficult do you think it could be?
Yeah, like I said before, I have the luxury of experience. I know how hard it is to get to the top. I know how much sacrifice and how much training you need to qualify. And I've done that 3 times already, and I love it. I'm very process-oriented. I love the journey. And so getting to the top of the mountain is just the cherry on top. All those moments along the way, the training, the people are the most important part. The people you surround yourself with, my coach, my teammates, like the younger kids that I mentor. And I know if I commit myself to the process, the result always comes, and I've proved that my entire life. And so I'm so excited for the process the next 2 years.
So I'm sure you know this, but you're both the youngest and oldest men's slopestyle medalist in Olympic history. You won bronze in the event's debut at Sochi, followed by back-to-back silvers in Pyeongchang and Beijing. You mentioned it, mentorship, being the veteran of your team, maybe helping out the younger skiers. How have you seen yourself develop and change in that role?
You know, I've always played a mentor role. I've got a younger brother, Jason. He's 21 years old, and I punk him all the time. I love being that big brother, you know, kind of get him under the arm, give him a noogie.
Yeah.
It's
you
so
love
much
that.
fun.
He might not like that
Yeah,
as
he
much.
might not love that,
Yeah.
but he's better because of it. I promise you that. But I've always surrounded myself with younger kids because I love, you know, opening the door for them, showing them the way, and not necessarily like telling the younger generation what to do, but at least leading by example. My dad has always really ingrained that in me, is like, lead by example, actions speak louder than words. And if I can carry myself, you know, respectfully, but also be entertaining and inspiring, especially for these younger kids, I mean, that's what I strive to do. So, all
right, so let me leave with this one. When you're not in the snow and the cold temperatures, with skis on your boots, I understand that there's another type of apparatus on your feet. Rollerblading is something else you do.
Yes, actually, during my little sabbatical from skiing, I trained and competed in the World Championships of Park Rollerblading in Buenos Aires, Argentina, as sort of a little side gig, if you will. And I ended up 9th place. I made it all the way to the finals, and it was an experience of a lifetime. I don't think there's more of that in my future, but it was fun.
That was it, one and done.
Yeah, one and done. I mean, honestly, I think that's what helped me kind of come back to skiing, is I love skiing like a little bit more than rollerblading. It's just a little bit more fun, but man, I love my rollerblades.
Nick, is this outfit a one and done too, or will this come back?
Oh, this is going to come back. This is going to come back.
Nick Goepper, everyone.
Oh, man.
Stay with us. After the break, we've got one of the most dominant international skiers, a two-time Olympic medalist, two-time world medalist, Norway's Aleksander Aamondt Kilde. That's up next on the Stifel Snow Show. One of the stars on the World Cup circuit is Norway's Aleksander Aamondt Kilde. He's a two-time Olympic medalist, a two-time World Championships medalist, and a frequent fixture on podiums across the globe. After back-to-back downhill season titles, Kilde remains one of the top contenders in the men's speed events. But at the World Cup downhill in Bormio, it was 29-year-old Cyprien Sarrazin from France. Sarrazin had recorded some strong performances so far, including a blistering training run at Beaver Creek that would have broken the course record, but hadn't put the pieces together in competition until last week. He edged out Switzerland's Marco Odermatt, the reigning world champion, by 0.09 of a second to claim his second career World Cup win and first since 2017. Odermatt bounced back the next day to win Super G. He was joined on the podium there by Austria's Raphael Hasser and Kilde in third. And ladies and gentlemen, the man of the hour, Alex, is nice enough to call in from Austria. Join us today. Alex, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Hey, guys. Yeah, thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here.
Well, Alex, we got a lot to talk to you about. First, what are some of the key takeaways? We just talked about that field in Bormio.
So Bormio is probably, if not the toughest downhill we have, one of them for sure. And it's always a thrill to ski there. It's always really nerve-wracking because it's super icy, it's super fast and long jumps, and like downhill is. I mean, it's amazing, but also a little bit frightening. So it's nice to be done with that weekend and keep on going. But cool results. Brought the podium with me from the Super G. The downhill, I actually hit a rock going down on the icy slope. So fortunately, I didn't crash, but I had to ski out. But all in all, good weekend. And there's also Olympic Games coming up in 26 in that course. So it's nice to appreciate every run you get there.
I love that. The sport is hard enough without unintended obstacles going down the course. That is amazing. Now, you have won back-to-back downhill seasons awards in 2022, 2023. What's your secret to being so consistent and staying at the top of your game right now?
Well, boring as the answer is, I mean, it's consistently working. And also in downhill, it's a lot about experience and what you bring into every race and what you kind of bring with you every year you go through those races, because every destination is the same every year you go. So that's actually what I've been trying to work on and try to, you know, bring in as much knowledge about the track, about how to ski it, how to be fast there every single time I go down that slope. So I think over years is a lot with experience and just about doing the work, either if you like it or not.
Now, Alex, I got to ask you about your partner. Mikaela Shiffrin swept the slalom and giant slalom events at Lienz last week, picking up her 92nd and 93rd World Cup wins. How do you two push each other to new heights?
Well, first of all, I love to talk about her, and I'm just, you know, super inspired by her. Also, the way she's keeping on rolling after a season last year where she's breaking records after records, and she keeps going. And it's just a hardworking mentality she has, and also understanding of what she needs to be able to win. I would say she's still young, and she can keep on going as long as she wants, because, I mean, the way she skis is fantastic, and I think we'll see a lot of victories also in the future from her. Yeah, what she did now, back-to-back victories in Lienz is, we've seen it before, but it's not just to do it. It's a lot of pressure for her. She needs to keep skiing, and the way she does it, she didn't have Christmas because she was training somewhere in Austria. That's just, you know, that's why you win races. It's amazing.
So fun to watch you guys root for each other. And speaking of that, we have some great footage of you and Marco Odermatt reacting to American Bryce Bennett's downhill win at Val Gardena last month. Was there a moment when you realized what a special run that was for Bryce?
Yeah, I didn't actually see it coming, honestly. No offense, Bryce, but it's just been last year for him was a little bit of a tough one. He's been winning there before, so you can never take him off the how should I say it, off the records. he's always fast there. But it was a surprise for us. He was starting 34, and usually the race is pretty much over after 30. But you never know. So that was an amazing run from him, top to bottom. Just, he's so smooth with terrain. He's a tall guy, so he's just like gluing those skis on the ground, and it was amazing to watch and super deserved.
So now, in case the viewers do not know, Norway dominates the Winter Olympics, 405 total medals, 75 more than the U.S. in second place. Even more impressive considering the population, the same size as South Carolina over here. So what's the secret? Is it something in the water? Is it the training? Is it the terrain? What is the secret to you guys?
I think it's just the capability of doing it together and learning from each other. And we're a small country, so we're pretty much gathered in one part of the country, and having that knowledge in one part of the country is easy, because then you can sort of share that experience and share the knowledge with the people around you easier than having, you know, 300 million people to try and reach them. And it's also within our culture to have fun with what you do and work hard, and that's about it. It's nothing really special, I don't think. I just think it's been good for years, and also Norway is a part of the country that's developed skiing into how it is, and especially within cross country skiing, we've been strong for decades, and that's also one of the reasons we're really strong in winter sports.
Certainly part of the culture there. Makes a whole lot of sense. Well, whatever's happening is working for the country, for you as well. Thanks again, Alex, for joining us. We look forward to following you the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.
Switching gears now to Para-Alpine's second World Cup of the season in Austria, where Alaska's own three-time Paralympian Andrew Kirka impressed with 2 top 10 finishes in both men's sitting Super G and the following day in men's sitting giant slalom. Paralympian Allie Johnson from Western Springs, Illinois, also finished strong on the women's side with a 6th place showing in standing giant slalom. Now ask any athlete and they will tell you that big wins can be decided by very small margins, with Olympic and world titles coming down to fractions of inches or seconds. Enter the wind tunnel, one of the ways technology is being used to hone skills and give athletes that leading edge.
We're here in North Carolina working at the A2 wind tunnel with the athletes on their aerodynamic positioning.
Our sport is won and lost by hundredths of a second.
When those hundredths matter, the slightest move of a hand or your leg can make a difference in winning in 4th place.
We spend really our whole season focusing on the skiing itself and the more technical aspects of it.
When we're hitting top speed racing, I honestly don't really notice the speed. The wind tunnel is cool to come to because the only thing you're thinking about is aerodynamics.
When you're ski racing, the amount of wind you're taking is insane. The forces are pushing you and you're trying to fight it. And the wind tunnel, you're able to feel that.
It's a little bit different for everyone, so that's kind of what we're looking for, and know exactly what our fastest position is.
You never want to be the guy that's off an Olympic podium by 100th of a second, and the data we're able to collect here and kind of the info we're able to gain about what's fast and what's slow is going to put us in the right place when the time comes.
To be here right now working with our own U.S. skiing and snowboarding team specialists, we're really dialing things in, and watch out, the skiing and snowboarding team's coming.
How cool is that? All right, before we completely say goodbye to 2023, we're going to take a look back at some of the top moments from the past year. That's after the break on the Stifel Snow Show. Welcome back to the Stifel Snow Show. Before we end the hour, let's take a look at some of the top moments from this last year in snow sports. Starting us off, number 5, we have snowboarders Dusty Henriksen and Beijing silver medalist Julia Marino sweeping the slopestyle Crystal Globes. Next up, we move to the World Championships, where Hannah Fallhaber became the first American woman to win a free ski world title, winning the halfpipe in her final run. Later, fellow 18-year-old Troy Podmilsack made history of his own as the first American man or woman to win a world title in ski big air. Aerials, moguls, and dual moguls all enjoyed strong seasons, capped off by wins at the Nations Cup to earn our 3rd spot for the year. And it would not be a roundup without Jessie Diggins, who made history at the World Championships.
Diggins now has led at every time check but 0.9 kilometers. Driving forward, great technique, 18, 16. She's going to take the lead by 14 seconds, and that might do it. The historic moment for Jessie Diggins. Top rung of the podium, world champion.
And finally, the top spot belongs to Mikaela Shiffrin, going where no alpine athlete had gone before.
From the Rockies to the Alps, the Andes to the Adirondacks, the whole skiing world understanding the magnitude of this moment, the scale and scope of what Mikaela Shiffrin is poised to do. Her sights set on a finish line that has never been crossed before. Looking for a record-setting 87th victory.
It's a precision unlike anything we have ever seen on skis.
Skiing into alpine immortality. Mikaela Shiffrin, the greatest World Cup skier of all time.
And now 87 World Cup wins. I can't believe that number is coming out of my mouth.
Now, over the course of the season, the cross-country and alpine teams often crisscross the world, but their paths recently crossed at the Tour de Ski, where the U.S. cross-country team had some fans on hand, including alpine skiers Paula Moltzen and A.J. Hurt. Bryce Bennett stopped by and made his presence known as a big Jessie Diggins fan.
Come on, Jessie!
And speaking of Diggins, her family was also on site to join in on the festivities. So cool to see these athletes, their families supporting each other. Truly does take a village. We will be back next Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern, with another episode of the Stifel Snow Show on CNBC. Later this month, we've got all the action from the slopes in Austria, starting with the women's slalom on January 16th, live on Peacock, 2:45 p.m. Eastern. We wrap with 3 days of men's skiing live on January 19th and 20th at 5:30 a.m. Eastern on Peacock, followed by an encore on NBC at 5 p.m. We'll be back January 21st at 7:15 a.m. Eastern, live on Peacock. It has been so great being with you today on the Stifel Snow Show. I am Ahmed Fareed, and we will see you next time.